Hello boys, welcome back to another session of online biology video tutorials, and this session is meant for class 12th biology students, and this is for 26th June 2021, as we have been discussing chapter 1 of class 12th biology, that is reproduction in organisms. For the past 3-4 days we have to deal with the second stage of sexual reproduction. Basically, we said reproduction has great significance as it helps to maintain identity of the species. It also helps to increase the number of populations of the species. And basically, this reproduction can take place through two methods. One is the asexual method, second one is the sexual method. We were talking about the sexual reproduction, and we said that there will be broadly 3 events that take place during sexual reproduction. The first one we discussed yesterday, that is pre-fertilization events, wherein 2 sub-stages will take place. One is the formation of gametes, gametogenesis we said, formation of sperm, formation of ovum in animals, formation of pollen grain, formation of ovum in plants, how exactly it takes place, how meiosis takes place, how many daughter cells are formed, all this we discussed in brief. And the second substage is the gamete transfer, how the male gamete travels all along and reach the female gamete to fuse and form zygote. And for this to happen, we discussed about the various media that help the male gamete to travel and fuse with the female gamete and form zygote. And this, all the media that help, we talk under pollination. Okay, now we go to the second main substage under sexual reproduction, that is fertilization. As we said yesterday, fertilization is the resultant of formation of zygote due to the fusion of male gamete and female gamete. In case of animals, including human being, sperm, which is a male gamete, fuses with ovum, which is female gamete, to form zygote. And remember, zygote is also one-celled cell. But what is the difference between gamete and zygote? In gamete, it is haploid number. We said n number. Whereas in zygote, it is a diploid number. N plus n. 2 sets of chromosomes. One set of chromosomes come from male gamete. Another set of chromosomes come from female gamete. Both n plus n is equal to 2n. So we say zygote is always 2n. So fertilization, we can say, is the complete and permanent fusion of 2 gametes from different parents or from the same parent to form a diploid zygote. This process is also called as syngamy. Yesterday we said syngamy and fertilization, both are same. Now basically syngamy is of 2 types with regard to the source of fusion of gametes. One is the endogamy, that is self-fertilization. It involves the fusion of male and female gametes of the same parent. So, thus it is uniparental, one parent. Example, tapeworm, Tinea solium. Whereas another variety in this is exogamy, that is cross-fertilization. It involves the fusion of 2 gametes produced by different parents. So, it is biparental. 2 parents are required for exogamy. Example, rabbit. Cross-fertilization also occurs in many hermaphrodite animals like in earthworm as well as leech. It is due to the fact that their male and female reproductive organs mature at different times. Remember, keep this in mind, different times. So when fertilization occurs, outside the body of an organism, it is called external fertilization, or we say external syngamy. The external medium such as water is required for this type of fertilization. You have seen fishes. The male fish will come and release the sperms in the water. Again, survival of the fittest, depending upon the salinity, temperature, all the factors, and of course predators will be there. So, few sperms will survive. Similarly, female fish will come and release the ova, few will survive. All those survival of the fittest category will fuse. Since the sperm of the fish and the ovum of the fish is fusing or taking fusion in the water, external medium, we say external fertilization. Whereas what about us? In our case, the sperm meets the ovum inside the female body. Hence we say internal fertilization. We all grow under protected environment of the uterus of the mother. Hence, we have lot of affection, affinity, parental affinity. And of course, parents also have lot of affinity towards the children. So, in internal fertilization, there will be lot of parental care, whereas in external, it's left to various factors. So, in most aquatic organisms, such as fishes, algae, amphibians, external fertilization occurs. When egg is retained inside female body, where it fuses with the male gamete, the process is called internal fertilization or internal syngamy. Example, reptiles, birds and mammals. So, we have got some exception for this in this category, that is Partinogenesis. What is that Partinogenesis? It refers to the development of an egg into a complete individual without fertilization. Remember here, what is important is without fertilization. That means sperm is not fusing with the ovum. Ovum itself develops into a offspring. That's called Partinogenesis. So it occurs in its natural course in many invertebrates like rotifers, honeybees, turkey birds, etc. And the Partinogenesis can be artificial or induced. We human beings, we are inducing this Partinogenesis in some of the fruits, some of the plants. So Partinogenesis can be natural one or can be induced. So we further go, types of fertilization. We said as already, external fertilization, internal fertilization. Syngamy outside the body of organism. Example, algae, fishes and amphibians. Internal fertilization. Syngamy takes place inside the body of an organism, normally females, fungi, reptiles, birds and mammals. And now, once fertilization takes place and it results in the formation of zygote, then zygote will undergo various changes before it becomes an offspring. What are all those changes that takes place that come under post-fertilization events? Basically, we can describe post-fertilization events under two subheadings again. One is the formation of zygote, another one is embryogenesis. So, formation of zygote after fertilization, a diploid zygote is formed in almost all sexually reproducing organisms. Further development of the zygote depends on the type of life cycle of the organism as well as environmental conditions. And second one, once the zygote is formed, it starts developing into embryo, then we say embryogenesis. So in this, embryo develops from zygote by a process called embryogenesis. During embryogenesis, zygote undergoes mitotic cell division as well as cell differentiation. Remember here, mitosis takes place, means addition of cells. And once the cells are formed in plenty, each cell will undergo cell differentiation for changing the shape and size with a particular function, that is cell differentiation. So cell division increases the number of cells in the developing embryo, while cell differentiation helps to form specialized tissues and organs to form an organism. So these are the two, formation of zygote, embryogenesis are the major sub stages that undergo under post-fertilization event. So events in sexual reproduction after the formation of zygote are called post-fertilization events. Formation of diploid zygote takes place. N plus n from the sperm, n from the ovum is equal to zygote 2n. Similarly, n from the pollen grain, n from the ovum, 2n zygote. In organisms belonging to fungi and algae, zygote develops a thick wall that is resistant to desiccation and damage. This is to adaptation. It undergoes a period of rest before germination. And how exactly this embryogenesis takes place? The process of development of embryo from single-celled zygote to multi-celled structure is embryogenesis. So basically you got a zygote undergoes mitosis, cells will be added. So single-celled zygote becomes multi-celled embryo. Now the cells undergo a phenomena called cell differentiation. Because of cell differentiation, specialized tissues will be formed. From those specialized tissues, special organs will be formed. As a whole, organism will be developed. This is how the embryogenesis helps in the formation of organism. Now, we have got varieties of animals in nature. On the basis of development of the zygote, animals are grouped into oviparous, viviparous, and oviviparous. That is also there, oviviparous. The oviparous animals such as reptiles, birds, lay eggs. You see, ovi means ovum, egg-laying animals, oviparous. Whereas in viviparous, vivi means young ones. Viviparous animals such as majority of mammals, including human beings, zygote develops into young one inside the body of a female individual. So in viviparous, there is no egg direct development, give birth to young ones. And in the third category, ovoviviparous animals, the female retains the eggs inside its body after fertilization and allows the development of the embryo inside the body without providing extra nourishment to the developing embryo, as the placenta is absent. Example for ovoviviparous, sharks, rattlesnakes. And in flowering plants also, we can see the zygote is formed inside the ovule of the female sex organs. The fertilized ovule matures and gets converted into seeds. The wall of the ovary produces pericarp, fruit wall. The ripened ovary enclosing the seeds form fruits. The pericarp protects the young seeds after dispersal of the seeds. After dispersal, the seeds germinate to form new plants. So we have got oviparous, viviparous, and oviviparous. And in case of the flowering plants, zygote is formed inside the ovule of flowering plants. After fertilization, sepals, petals and stamens of the flower fall off, wither off, and the zygote develops into embryo. Ovules will become seeds. So if you say, what are seeds? Technically, biologically, you have to say, developed ovules are seeds. Remember? Bija, seed. And what is a fruit? All of us being biology students, we should say, developed ovary is a fruit. And thick wall of the fruit around it is pericarp. So these are the words that you should remember whenever you speak of. So sexual reproduction basically leads to variation. Varieties will be formed. What for? Due to genetic recombination. One set of genes will come from sperm, another set of genes come from ovum. So two sets fuse together, there is a new genetic combination, genetic rearrangement, hence new characters in the offspring leading to varieties. Varieties will be formed. Therefore, it plays an important role in evolution. Genetic recombinations during sexual reproduction provide vigor and vitality to the offspring. So always the future generations will be having better immunity, better developmental characters compared to the old generations. The reason being genetic recombination. Thus, the offsprings produced adapt better to the changing environmental conditions. So, always the future generations, that is F1 generations, F2 generations, will be far, far better in adaptations compared to P generation, that is parental generation. Hence, thanks to sexual reproduction, it is making us our life safe and secure. So, with this, we have covered the entire chapter 1, reproduction in organisms, and briefly in this we talked about the very definition of reproduction. We talked about the significance of reproduction. We talked about the types of reproduction, that is sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Under asexual reproduction, we talked about the types of asexual reproduction. And I have given homework for your vacation. Of course, it is extended vacation. I am sure you must have done a lot of work on that. And most important is self-satisfaction. You must all have, those boys who have done the homework, that is vegetative reproduction. I told you to do and produce a hybrid in your own home. Show to your parents. I hope you have done layering, grafting, cutting. All these I had given to you as a homework. And I have told you to post the pictures in our WhatsApp group. I am happy that 2-3 children have posted the photos of their work. It's a good one, and I request others to follow, because what is important is self-satisfaction. Whatever we do, we should have that. Don't do for the sake of others. Do it for yourself. So keep on studying. Have the queries. Post your questions in the WhatsApp group. We'll have a